I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's analysis of the news. Just before getting into our work today, I want to discuss our new building for a few moments. We have been doing some construction work on one of our two buildings. Now, our television studio here is in Building C, okay? Well, up in Building B, we have a warehouse, we have the secretarial staff, we have a print shop, we have other offices. Well, we used to have an atrium or a little patio area between the buildings. The buildings wrap around it, and it was just open, 17 feet wide, 53 feet long. And I got the idea, we really need to move everything over under one roof. We need to move this studio over there, and I think we have room. Well, I had been toying with the idea for, I guess years. But I was over at a friend's business. He's a realtor, and I just mentioned to him, by the way, do you know anybody that maybe I could get to close in that atrium and build a television studio? He says, well, sure, I do. I can help you out there. So he put me with a lady who is heading up the project, okay? And she knows all of these carpenters and roofers and concrete people and insulation people and sheetrock people and all that. She's built some 90 houses. So anyway, she gave me a price. I thought, boy, this is really great. But her price was only the rough end, because then we're going to have to finish the building. Anyway, somehow or another, I got the idea that it was only going to cost us about $30,000 to build this building. You got to understand that the average building nowadays costs upwards to $100 a square foot. And I thought, boy, we're going to be able to build this for $30. Now, when I was a pastor back in, when was that? Back in the dark ages, 1960s, early 1970s, I built 7 building projects. I built our auditorium. I started the church in a home. We finally bought some land, and we built our first building. Then we built another building and another building. And I built one of my first Sunday school wings, I built for $5 a square foot. All right. Then we built the Christian school. We built a huge gymnasium with concrete blocks and these great big trusses across it. You had to have a crane to come in and lay the trusses, and then bricked it on the outside. Anyway, the whole thing cost $12 a square foot. So to me, $30 a square foot was outrageous, but hey, that's the world we live in. The dollar's not worth what it used to be, I thought, still, $30 a square foot, that's a bargain. Well, I didn't realize that I was going to have to pay another $8,000 for electrical, and another $5,000 for heating and air conditioning, anyway, it looks like it's going to run us about $50,000. That's about $50 a square foot. And so anyway, I wrote this letter and sent it out with the September magazine to all of our subscribers, $30 a square foot. I'm sorry, I missed it. It's going to cost us $50 a square foot, but hey, that's okay. It's still cheap compared to that. So anyway, I'm telling you because you may have received one of those letters and says $30 a square foot. Now he's asking for $50 a square foot. Yeah, that's just the way things go. Anyway, I wanted to explain that. And by the way, over the weekend, we did a little walk around of the area that they were constructing. By now, just a few days later, we've got stacks of sheetrock sitting inside. And we're, as soon as we get that framing inspection, and the inspector's coming today, we're going to start laying the sheetrock on the walls. So what I'm saying is, I still need your help. We took in, I think over the weekend, one I heard, now please don't hold me to this, but I heard $4,000 we took in several gifts. So I just want to thank you for helping. One lady called and bless bless your heart, I love you and I appreciate your offering. She said, $50 a square foot, I'm giving $100. I want to buy 2 square feet. Hey, I like that. Why didn't I think of that? So anyway, if you'd like to buy a couple of square feet, give $100, huh? If you'd like to buy a square foot of our new building, that's about what it's going to cost. I invite you to do so. It's 1,000 square feet we're adding by closing in the atrium area, and we're going to move all of this equipment in this beautiful studio here. We're going to move it over to our new facilities in a few weeks whenever we get it finished, and then we'll show you all about it. Okay, so much for that. I want to talk to you today about the book of Enoch. Do you remember Enoch walked with God, Genesis chapter 6? Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. So Methuselah was not his only son. And he also had daughters, whose names, of course, we're not given in the Scripture. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. In other words, God took him alive. Now, he wrote a book called the Book of Enoch. And it still exists today. It is said that he gave it to his son, and this is written in the book of Enoch. He gave it to his son Methuselah and said, "You be sure and see that this is preserved and given to all the generations after you. And they will love it when they read it. They'll be so excited about what I have seen on my trips with the angels to heaven and back and around the world." He said, they won't be able to put it down. They will enjoy it better than eating. They will enjoy it and won't go to sleep while they're reading. I think that's fascinating. Anyway, what he wrote were in 7 scrolls. One was called the Book of the Watchers, another the Book of the Parables, and this one in our September 2009 issue of Prophecy and News magazine is called the Book of the Luminaries. It's about the trek of the sun and the moon around the sky over a period of a year's time. So anyway, this is a fascinating read here. And of course, in later years, there were editors who came along and wrote their little commentaries in it and changed it up a little bit for their particular generation. And it's difficult sometimes to know what is original text and what is corrupted text. But generally speaking, you can find the corrupted text because you know that Enoch couldn't have written that particular thing. Nevertheless, Tertullian came along in the end of the 2nd century, beginning of the 3rd century, around A.D. 200. He was born in 145 and lived to around 230, something like that. So somewhere around 185 to 200 to 230, he wrote. Tertullian wrote. Tertullian, by the way, was born in Carthage on the northern coast of Africa. He was African, and he was educated in Rome, and he converted to Christianity after he became an adult and became a great theologian. And he said he believed that the book of Enoch was inspired and should have been included in the Old Testament. The book of Job was included in the Old Testament. Why not the book of Enoch? By the way, the book of Job preceded the writing of Genesis. Okay? By, 100 years, something like that. It was written in Egypt during the captivity or during the years of bondage. Then Moses led the children of Israel out. They took Job's writings with them, and Job became a part of the Old Testament. Why not Enoch? Well, Tertullian says, and remember, he's a Christian theologian, he says the rabbis probably refused to put it in the Old Testament canon because it talked about the Messiah being the Son of God and that he would come and die for the sins of the world and save Gentiles as well as Jews. Well, that wasn't real kosher for the rabbis, so though they preserved the book of Enoch, some of the scribes added a little here and there, and so corrupted the book of Enoch. I cannot tell you that the book of Enoch is divinely inspired. I can tell you that the angels talked to him, and he wrote in this, our